Good evening, everyone. We are live on this wonderful Sunday, September 18th, 2022, at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Daylight Time. And let it be known that through the first three games, OU remains undefeated, unlike some in our conference. I had to get that out of the way now. So I'm joined again by my usual co-host, Sean. How are you doing today? Did you enjoy that can of whoop ass we gave Nebraska yesterday?
I don't know. That was yesterday. I'm loving some NFL football today. I watched the Cowboys pull out not a miracle, but they held on to beat the Bengals. Just a Super Bowl team last year,
Oh,
with a backup quarterback. And I watched Kyler Murray orchestrate an amazing comeback to tie the game, and then the Cardinals got this amazing scoop and score in overtime. That was fun. I watched the Dolphins make an amazing comeback at the 1 o'clock hour against the Ravens. So, look, today was a good day to show college fan who hates NFL. It's like, dude, if you watch games today, you might change your mind. So, I had a good time just chilling, watching football today.
And all weekend, just in general. Like, what you were the one that mentioned, or it was either you or Carrie Murdoch who mentioned, like, it was nice to have a game where we could just enjoy a second half that was absolutely boring.
That was probably Murdoch. So he probably
It was one of y'all.
No, it was probably Murdoch. I guess we can get into that. It's just
let's jump right in.
So
were you expecting that? Because I wasn't.
You know what? Here's the thing. Like, I always bring this up. Like, I do my watch alongs, and they score first, and I'm like, I wasn't surprised they scored first. If you go back and sync up my watch along, I'm not losing my mind. I'm like a little disappointed, and they gave up a touchdown. But it's like that crowd was really hot to start the game, and Bob Stoops said it years ago. The first series you play is all emotion. Emotion will carry you. After that, it's football. Guess what happened after the first series? It was football. And the more talented and better coach team won. There was only so much Nebraska could, quote unquote, fix in a week. They couldn't fix the talent gap. They couldn't scheme it. They couldn't scheme anything. If you want Brent Venables, if you're rooting for him to succeed and you believe in everything he's doing, that's what was supposed to happen on Saturday. The only thing you could argue about is, like, I mean, listen, you can nitpick about a lot of things. We'll talk about those in a second, but the score could have been a lot. Like, this game
could have been worse.
Both teams decided, look, we're like 4 minutes into the third quarter. Let's just run the clock out. That's basically what happened.
Yeah. I mean, OU marched there.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Like, both teams were just like, let's just put our backups in. We're good.
And it wasn't individual guys. It was like entire units going in, and Nebraska
they kept the starting O-line in there, which I don't know.
Experience, sure.
I mean, I don't know if Wanye Morris was that big of a difference, but it felt like it. And it also combined with Nebraska's line play on both sides is atrocious. So I don't want to, dig too deep into that or like lean too much into it, saying, it's like, okay, Nebraska's really bad on line of scrimmage. Yeah. So we're gonna play a much better line of scrimmage team next week, despite what happened to them. We'll talk about that later too. But
we have a lot. But did you expect that going up to Lincoln, where historically I think
honestly, yes. I predicted a 2-3 score win. I think here's what like. If this was a Lincoln Riley coach team, that's a game
you survive.
Middle of the no, not necessarily. It's a game middle of the third quarter, and then you take over, and the score looks prettier at the end. You know what I mean? It turns into like a 49-21 win. In the middle of the third quarter, maybe it's like 28-21 at some point, and the crowd's getting fired up. Then there's a fumble, a pick, or something, and then that's what a Riley coach team felt like. That if they were, not like last year. But what's funny too, and I'm going to talk about this like in a video tomorrow, and I briefly mentioned it in my recap. In a couple days, it'll be like the 1-year anniversary of Riley I'm paraphrasing, saying we're close.
Yeah.
Because we played Nebraska last year. It's like, guys, we're close.
Close to signing his deal with USC.
Well, yeah, no, but like in all seriousness, he's like, we're close. We just need guys to do. We don't need them to do anything this much. We just this. You know what close looks like to me? What we saw on Saturday. That's what close looks like. And the reason I say that, we won this game convincingly. We have a field goal kicker we got to worry about. We have a quarterback who we got a quarterback who throws a little high at times. I think he makes some of those throws in Norman. I think he's a home field quarterback. Yeah. And
that's okay. Like what we have right now. That's okay.
I mean, yes and no. But some of the tougher games are going to be in Norman. And it turns out we may have some even more tougher games than we realize. But most of those games are in Norman. And so he's probably going to make those throws there with a quiet crowd on his side on offense. So it's just like some of the freshmen got in there and like, listen, I am nitpicking like a mother. Like maybe
because you're struggling the same way I am, where what could you actually nitpick outside of Dylan Gabriel and White's ejection?
Well, that's a whole different deal. But
yeah,
I'm nitpicking because we're going to play much better competition next week and the week after that and the week after that. And those little things could turn into big things in closer games. Correct. So this team is improving week by week, but I don't know. I don't want to judge a kicker just immediately like this, the Schmidt kid, but I don't know if like you give who is it? The Marshall kid a look at times, because I know they were like both back and forth, but missing a 39-yarder, not ideal. So,
and it was a chip shot, like.
And I think the team for the most part was healthy. Like our Mason Thomas was out. They said it was a hamstring. Whenever I hear hamstring, I freak out because those can linger. You don't know how severe they are, but they don't sound too concerned. But speaking of hamstrings, Key Lawrence played backup and he got some backup reps and he had a pick. He should have had 2.
Yeah, he should have.
So, and again, you go up there and that's the defense is just, they're feasting on the weak right now. And they look like a defense that if they're good enough and they're able to make play, if you want them to be as good as hopefully they can be this year, you should feast on the weak. Mm-hmm. That's what we've seen for 3 weeks now. Next week, when we play Kansas State, I think they're in deep trouble quarterback play because Adrian Martinez is not it. And they're relying too much on Deuce Vaughn. Their defense is still really good. So, but if Oklahoma starts scoring points on them, that game is over quick. But
I was going to say that too, where it's like I think K-State's going through the Adrian Martinez experience that he's not good.
He's really awful, and he probably cost Scott Frost his job like long term because he should have replaced him a long time ago. But getting back to this game, it was cool to see because I went to this thing. I've done so many times, like thinking about the past and looking backwards and thinking of the Switzer Osborne. And I wasn't feeling that this go around. I just want to get up there, get a win and get out. And we got that. It's just because so many people this week were trying to wish cast this to be a game. There were so many oh yeah, I'm picking Nebraska. I think Nebraska could do it because they're going to rally around Mickey Joseph. And listen, no sport more than college football has the ability to see that crap happen. But again, if this was last year's coaching staff, I understand their thought process. This year's coaching staff, no. Because you listen to what Brent says, you see what he puts on the field, you see how he communicates with his locker room. He made it a point to tell his players, this is OU Nebraska. And whether that message was going to get through or not, he got whatever it was. After that first drive, he lit into them a little bit on the sideline, and then they started playing Oklahoma football. So it's just one of those things where Brent's going to lose a game at some point. It's going to happen. It's probably going to happen once or twice this year. And people are getting mad at me when I'm flipping my pick for K-State because we're having statues dedicated to some of the greatest football players to ever put on a helmet at OU. So I can't go against my team now. So you gotta give me a little bit of a mulligan. Not even a mulligan. I can flip my pick before the game happens. So I feel justified. I've told other people if they made poor preseason picks, I said, I'm giving you permission to change your pick before it's too late. He said, no, it's in stone. I was like, it's not too late. I will not give you crap for it.
Stuff evolves.
But no, it's like, I've told people, it's like, why are you picking Nebraska? You know better than this. Do not pick Nebraska to win this game. And I saw so many people pick Nebraska. I saw the Barstool thing, and it was just hilarious. It's like,
they were dumb.
Well, no, it's what they do. But it's like, you got Brandon Walker. Everything he said was like this sports movie, Disney crap. They're gonna do all this and they're gonna rally and like there's gonna be the Rudy theme music's gonna play, and that lasted about 2 drives and it was over.
You walked in as stormtroopers with their icy whites on and laid the law down, and this is the empire. Like that's what happened. I mean, I have to respect Brent Venables, where you mentioned Riley's take. I also think that Riley would have played to survive at that game. Brent made his presence known, put his foot
the
down,
defense would have been garbage, and Casey Thompson would have made like clutch third down throws and kept drives alive, and probably might like settle for field goals or whatever, but still keep it interesting. I think what I love most about it is that you saw multiple guys on defense were getting in on it. We're not like the days of we gotta make, please Obo get a sack. Like Reggie Grimes is getting tackled for loss. Redmond got in on it. Of course, like Stutzman was okay today. Deshaun White had a great first half till he got kicked out. But then Canick came in there, and that dude is just
a light.
He's just good. He's a lightning. And Brent dropped this little nugget. Is like he doesn't even know how to play a linebacker yet. I'm like, shut up, Brent. Shut up. Stop trying to tell me he's going to be better. I mean, he is going to be, which is really scary. But
and you got to respect that he wanted to play for Venables, and the performance he put on the field. Like, I'm not going to judge. I'll be like, cool, neat.
It's like think of the jump Stutzman has made from year 1 to year 2.
Bowman.
Well, I'm sticking with the linebackers right now. Like Bowman, is the best player on defense right now, in my opinion.
Bowman,
we can have an argument about that too if you want. Like Reggie Grimes, here's how
Ethan Downs. Ethan Downs showed up yesterday.
First of all, I expect a lot of guys to show up yesterday based on who they were going up against.
Fair.
But it's but even so, it's like last year OU was giving up over 20 points a game. Over 20 points. So far through 3 games, it averages out. It's very easy to do the math. 10 points a game.
Yep.
So far. And now that number will probably go up at some point because we're going to have a game against somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the Red River. You never know. But it's just you're seeing guys it's what I was hoping. The ironic part is what I was hoping to see from Grinch is actually happening at USC now, which kind of pisses me off a little bit. But we're actually seeing a defense make plays and get 3 and outs and get tackles, leading the nation in TFLs. Reggie Grimes is tied for 5th in individuals for sacks. As I mentioned, scoring defense, 10 points a game so far.
Yeah,
we're what's really funny? I think they're 30. Here's what's really funny. You're gonna love this. Right now, overall, they're 33rd overall in defense.
Mm-hmm.
They're tied for 33rd. Guess who they're tied with?
Georgia.
Fuck no. No, Georgia's really good. Georgia's number 1. No, 33rd in the overall defense. They're tied with Clemson.
They making jumps. It's crazy.
And Clemson's defense is still good.
Yeah.
That offense is horrendous, though. It is awful at Clemson. So,
to be fair, too, with it, I mean, I don't think it's much of a stretch to say that the defense is better than the offense right now by leaps and bounds, and it's not even close.
I don't know
in my
about
opinion.
I don't know about leaps and bounds. I'm sorry, 35th, tie for 35th with Clemson. I'm sorry, I want to make sure I get that right. But I don't know if it's leaps and bounds. It's just that
They're such a solid unit. That's the
well,
thing.
it's like for Dylan's still trying to get on, get like I want to say like in rhythm with his guys. Farouk finally got involved in the game, got a touchdown. Mims is your number one, obviously. Theo Weiss getting involved. Love the trick play with Braden Willis.
Oh,
my God.
I'm not kidding. When I jumped up out of my seat and bumped my fist, that was beautiful.
That was sexual. I'm not gonna lie.
I called my dad and went, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" Yes, I saw that.
I've seen Riley drop some quote unquote trick plays that were like, "What the hell are you doing?" and they never work out or whatever. It's just, I mean, he's had a few before, mind you, but it's just that one was perfect. Eric Gray had a great day. So for all my Eric Gray haters out there, it's like, dude, like it's okay to have more than one good running back. It's okay. It's all right.
I'm gonna eat my crow. He had a great day, and I'm hoping that continues. That
it's okay to have more than one good running back. So
yeah, I mean, to be fair, Marcus Major had an okay day yesterday. Like Eric Gray was the back.
Yeah, over 100 yards. Like there was no receiver. No receiver had like a big individual day. It was all spread out. Yeah. But they mostly ran the foot. Dylan Gabriel had like a 61-yard run that came out. I don't think he expected that to happen. He's like, "Oh, I'm still in bounds. Well, the end zone's right there. I might as well."
Yeah.
That's not what he does. People like Dylan Gabriel will run with the football a little bit. That's usually to get you a first down or get out of bounds. Like he can do that. Like he pulled a Baker against Tulsa, like 2015 type of. Remember Baker, like that big run at home against Tulsa. So it felt like that. It's like, oh, this feels a little familiar, kind of, sort of. But yeah, it's not much else to say about that game. They fired their defense, like Mickey Joseph fired the defensive coordinator. So
yeah, and I don't think Mickey Joseph is going to make it to.
Well, I mean,
next year he'll make it to the end because at this point,
yeah, but like he that was never going to last. Everyone knows that, and people was like, oh, they might fire, they might keep him on. It's like, no, they're not. Trev Alberts is not going to keep him on. The Urban Meyer campaign got off to a big start on Big Noon Kickoff.
Oh, did you see the cringe that the people were wearing the shirts as well?
Well, they were wearing the shirts, but it was like a Larry the Cable Guy just on camera on national TV, just basically asking him to be the next head coach. Just like, and why not? Just like pull all of your star power, Nebraska. I keep forgetting Larry the Cable Guy exists until there's like a big Nebraska game, whenever those things pop up. Larry the Cable Guy tends to show up. He's an Orlando resident. He was originally from Orlando, believe it or not. So
really, see, I never even knew
he got to start. He got to start in Orlando. So I always find that funny.
The irony behind it all,
as opposed to his recent comedy, used to be funny.
That's fair.
But
that's fair. I will say, I think my only one nitpick, my true nitpick from this game, Dylan's got to learn to throw the ball away. Like there was a couple. It's like, bro, you need to not quit taking sacks, man. You got to throw it away.
I don't mind you taking sacks if like that's all you can do and you just eat it, because sometimes it's the best thing to do. But yeah, he's it's something I've talked with Eric multiple times in the past. Like he never wants to give up on a play. Don't pull that shit next week.
Yeah,
because I don't care that they lost. Don't care. It's funny in the moment, but I don't care. Like their defense is still pretty solid. Offensively, they're trash right now because they're relying too much on Deuce Vaughn. I'm talking about K-State, of course. But
I figured that.
I mean, just in case someone random, who is he talking about? It's like, but
Nebraska. We're playing them again.
But it was a weird day for games yesterday because they were all scattered at weird times. Some of the games I really wanted to watch, and the mid-afternoon was okay, but it was a weird kind of drop-off after the OU game's the only one I cared about. Like usually I do watch-alongs. I say, here's updates from around the Georgia-South Carolina game is on, and nothing else was really of note mattered.
I mean, real fast, the chat asked, what about Sawchuk? Why hasn't he gotten any touches? And I'm actually curious myself.
I don't know. So maybe he's hurt, maybe he's or whatever. I don't know. Maybe he's not ready. But you have to remember Sawchuk didn't show up till July.
That's fair. That's
So
fair.
just all I know is like Clayton Smith got reps in this game. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
Clayton Smith got some TFLs in this game. So I was like, people are like, where's Clayton Smith? Like, well,
do you think with the Nebraska one as well, do you think the players just quit? And I'm not going to say waving the white flag, but they just quit like this.
I think Mickey Joseph quit too.
Because I got that impression. Because
he put in his back. He put in his backup. So it's like, all right, we'll put in Bevel.
Yeah, and I saw like a thing where it was like, Nebraska, we're tired of losing by one score. All right, the monkey paw curled. You're going to lose by double digits now. I mean,
yeah, that was their first double-digit loss in a minute, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's the most. Speaking of that, that's the most OU's ever scored in Lincoln as well.
Yeah, it was the most they've ever scored in Lincoln. It was the most lopsided since 1990.
Yeah,
which that game is interesting because that was the second of a 2-year bowl ban. That was the only time OU beat Nebraska in the 90s. Kale was the quarterback, got knocked out of the game early.
Yeah,
he got hurt, got knocked out early. OU still won. OU was still loaded with some leftover Switzer players that he recruited. So OU was good enough to. I don't think they would have won the Orange. I don't think they would have. I think they would have. They didn't win the Big A. They were close. They would have they were like one game off, but everyone's like, okay, we beat Nebraska. We'll be back next year. No, you're not.
No.
I mean, Gibbs will give you hope in like 93, and then you'll go into 94 thinking you have hope, and then you don't. No, you don't. You don't have hope anymore. There is no hope.
Because when Schnellenberger showed up, hope went away.
Oh, yeah.
We don't talk about Schnelly, but you mentioned
he's dead now. He can't harm you. Schnellenberger's gone.
He can't.
Yeah.
But you mentioned K-State. I mean, even I'm thinking of it like, how worried are you on this game now? Because even I'm unsure of how good they are at this point because I think they're going to be good competition, but you don't drop the Tulane like that. Like, that was horrible.
I mean, what kind of Big 12 championship contender like embarrasses themselves on their home field against Tulane? Who does that?
I know, right? Like, what chumps would do that?
I made that joke on Twitter, and then someone responded with Oklahoma, and of course I'm like, I respond with The Simpsons, that's the joke. And it's like, I know, I just wanted people to know, is like, just in case someone did. All right. My favorite, I got a great comment last night at 3 a.m., which woke my ass up because my phone went off. Someone got mad at me because I droned on and on in my videos, which is true. I do that. I'm doing it right now. But they got mad at me.
I'm long-winded. You are not long-winded, sir.
No, they got mad at me because I apparently didn't mention Marvin Mims' big day. Apparently, he was great. I'm like, go to bed. Marvin Mims had like 66 yards or whatever, and like he had a couple of. I mean, people were celebrating our punt return yardage yesterday, which is really sad because it's nothing special. Because they got like 60 total yards of punt returns, which is like more than they had all last year because they never returned goddamn punts.
Yeah. I mean, you could build around that. Like, I even remember that. I think I even saw like something like 3 years. Like, this is a ridiculous amount. They don't believe in returning it. Now they do now.
I mean, I remember 2016, like, there was another like thing that like drove me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you'd think I'm like anti-OU, but like people were trying to hype up D.D. Westbrook as this great punt returner. I was like, what a great punt returner D.D. Westbrook is. And I'm like, what are you talking? Because like,
he hasn't returned.
He doesn't. I mean, this is still Bob the last year under Bob, but like, we weren't getting touchdowns or anything like that. Nothing silly like that. And I was like, well, why are people like, he was having a great year catching the ball and scoring touchdowns. And he was a Heisman finalist, and they put him back there. I'm sure trying to get him more Heisman hype or whatever. But like, I didn't get the punt returns. He had like one. I think he had one against Kansas, maybe. Yeah. Or he came close. But I was like, what are you talking about with the... I'll have to go back and look at those numbers. I just remember people's like, what a great punt return. I'm like, who are you?
Ooh.
You're not watching these... Are you watching the same game? And it's not... I'm not hating on Didi. He didn't do anything wrong. It's just that... It's like people were... Where are these punt returns? Was I in the bathroom? I missed the Theo Weiss touchdown yesterday. I had to go to the bathroom, so... No, that's not true. The dog was being a shithead. I had to go kick his ass and made me miss a Theo Weiss touchdown. So,
gotta throw that dog, man. Anyway, but
funny story. The dog apparently escaped and got outside, and I could hear the roommate yell, "No, don't go chase the car!" I just sat back and go. I'm just gonna keep watching.
Come back.
I'm gonna keep watching the end of this Arizona. Las Vegas game, which was a fantastic finish, by the way.
Kyler willed that win.
Well, the defense willed that win too, and there was some Clemson on Clemson crime at the end of that game. Isaiah Simmons knocked the hell out of Hunter Renfrow and forced a fumble. Mm-hmm. So Clemson on Clemson crime right there. So if you ever be a Clemson Tiger, you're like, hate to see it.
Let's talk a little bit with Cats with K-State though. Like, I think half of it is I'm going to be very genuinely disappointed that I for a minute believed that K-State was going to be undefeated.
I picked him to beat OU. People like, and I got people on Twitter like saying you picked K-State to beat OU. And I was like, you didn't watch my videos this week, did you? So
yeah,
I'm still gonna get people saying, "Yeah, pick." Like people are mad at me and attacking my fandom because I picked OU to lose the games. Like, guys, I picked them to go 12-2 and be Big 12 champs. I'm such a monster. You're not a real fan. Real fans don't pick their teams to lose ever. I was like, all right, you gonna go to Vegas with that mentality? Please do. No, oh, you're not. That's what I thought.
The anime fandom is crossing over at that point.
I don't know what that has to do with anything, but all right.
The toxicity that can happen at times.
Oh, please! There's been that existed in sports fandom way before. I don't know what you're talking about.
But no, I don't know where I can think about K-State at this point because half of me is like, yes, they're going to be probably the best team we played so far, but the other half, I'm not scared of them anymore based on that Tulane game. Like,
I'm still don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby? Don't do it. Don't do it.
To the rat poison. Don't.
It is rat poison. Look, they're gonna come home next week and they're gonna get it, and it's a night game. Thank God. That's going to help, in my opinion.
I'll be there.
Yeah, the crowd will be very, very nuts, and dedicating the statues to the Salmons.
I'll be there.
Which will be mid-afternoon.
Northeast side of the campus too, but
yes,
which northeast. I'm curious where they're putting it at. Like,
well, I'm sure once you get there's going to be a big tarp over it, and just look for the tarp, and you'll find it.
No, it's going to be a truck that's going to be circling around. They're going to deliver it that way.
But anyway, but you know, like I'm looking at their front seven guys like Austin Moore, see, I always forget that dude's name. It's like Felix Uzama. I need to buy a vowel. He's had a couple of stacks this year, but
bless you.
But one of their leading tacklers is a safety, so not ideal.
Well, and that's something I mentioned even with my preview vid with Nebraska was you can look at the numbers and Nebraska has a lot of tackles, but I'm like, if you really delve, it's either fool's gold because that's where they keep abusing it, or they're actually pretty good.
Your camera keeps freezing, by the way. Just want to let you know that.
Really?
Yeah. You're like,
really? I'm not getting that from the side. Huh.
I'm seeing it on my end. You're like free. So I don't know if it's broadcasting that way or whatever, but it's like for me, you're like,
huh.
I'm exaggerating, of course.
Well, yeah, but still though, that's weird. Huh. That's good to know. At least you can hear audio. That's what matters.
I mean, yeah. If I couldn't, then I'd just be like
later. Yep, that's about right. That was affecting some of my pregame stuff too, so I'll have to look into that. But I mean, look at K-State though. There's not really anybody, at least in the top 20 players right now, looking at them, that's a standout one. Like you're really reaching to get
Well,
Daniel Green is the guy that's
they
really
lost 17-10 or whatever it was, or something stupid like that. What was the score?
17-10.
So again, you hold a team to under 20 points, regardless who it is. The defense for the most part is doing their job.
Yeah,
they beat the hell out of Missouri. I don't know how good Missouri is.
That's my question.
Something called South Dakota. They blanked at home. So they've had 3 straight road games. This is their first road test of the year. So, but Deuce Vaughn is still Deuce Vaughn. He's still doing all right.
But we did great. We contained Andrew Green though, or Grant. I'm sorry. We contained Grant with Nebraska.
Grant. People are saying he's the leading. He's leading. It's like he's played more football games than anyone else. So, because they played the week 0 game. So people are like, okay, let's. He's not that good. Like he has an extra game where he played against a garbage Northwestern defense. Boy, that's loss looks even worse now, just based on Northwestern. But
well, I mean, to be fair, look at us though. I mean, we have the 3 teams we faced are a combined 3-9. Like,
yeah, but you're beating them. But if your non-conference is garbage, you're beating them like they're supposed to be beaten. That's the thing. The Nebraska game, hey, some people thought this would be a game. So if you want to play it's a hard game, not hard game, whatever. This was scheduled for rivalry purposes, for nostalgia, whatever. Oklahoma, more times than not, has top non-conference games. It's too bad. Now, next year's is going to suck because we have to cancel a certain game I was looking forward to, which led me to believe that we were going to make a little move to a certain conference next year, which is not happening now.
Do you believe that? I think they're full of shit. I will be upfront.
No,
I think they're
lying. We're done.
I believe Dodds and
no, we're not moving. We're not moving.
Then why would they cancel it and not make it just
because
a neutral site?
No, fuck that. that defeats the whole. No, because first of all, you got to find a place, and that's
Scary World.
No, fuck that shit. Play that in home and home. You're first of all, we're gonna play him at some point anyway, so I'm not gonna neutral site. Get out of here.
I'm thinking of it as why would OU agree to that when they're gonna lose out on so
they don't have
much money for that?
It wasn't coming from their side. Like SEC's told Georgia, look, you're not gonna get a return. They decided, look, you Georgia, Tennessee, you're not getting a return on this. Cancel it. You'll find something else. Same thing for you guys. So we got SMU, whatever. SMU's decent. I'm not gonna be worried about it because it's gonna be held against us like next year, but I think OU's gonna be really good next year, just the way I'm seeing things right now. So it's just disappointing that we won't get that big kind of SEC preview game next year with Georgia coming down. And some people are like, oh good, we don't get beat by Georgia next year. Like there's a lot of OU fans, and I don't blame them for the mindset. Like they want another year or two to build up the roster. I get it, but I'm not afraid to go play. Like, here's the thing: SEC teams as a whole, top to bottom, I'm not afraid of. Like Georgia's, Georgia's really, really good, and OU, if they played Georgia this year, would probably get their asses kicked. But what I'm saying is, I'm not afraid to play LSU. I'm not afraid to play Arkansas or any of the Mississippi schools. I'm not afraid to play Vandy. I'm not afraid to play Florida. South Florida took the Gators to the gun the other night.
Yeah. Well,
South Carolina is trash. Like, all due respect to Shane Beamer, he's got a long ways to go to build that up.
Poor Rattler, man.
Don't sit here and tell me that OU can't win a competitive game against Kentucky, Arkansas. Hell, I'll throw Bama in there.
I had a person who's an Arkansas buddy. He's an acquaintance I know through convention. Message me and go, man, can't wait for OU to play Arkansas the first time so we can hand you that L. I'm like, we're coming in to conquer. We're not coming in to participate. But you keep thinking that. I really hope you keep thinking that. I can't wait to cash that receipt.
I mean, as of right now, Georgia looks like they're going to win the Natty again this year.
I mean, they're good, man.
Unless Ohio State figured out their defense, which we'll see how it looks in a year or two. Not a year.
Toledo didn't cover though,
but a month or two. Man, I was so disappointed. I felt good in the first quarter, man. They answered right back with this, like, "Yeah, we're gonna get a cover, baby." I didn't bet on it, but I was just like, I'm gonna look. I'm gonna look smart. I'm gonna say, you know what? Because I looked. They were scoring a lot of points. Like, you know what? This is a MAC team, MACtion. I said they can cover a 30-point spread. Ohio State has struggled. They struggled against Notre Dame a little. I was like, you know what? Nope. Broke my heart on that, but that's okay. I didn't lose any money, hopefully, but like, I wasn't saying they're going to pull the upset. No, I just they're going to cover. They're going to be respectable. But no, well, Ohio State decided to drop 70 plus and to send a message. So Ohio State looks really good offensively, at least. Michigan has yet to play anybody.
Are you well? And you're mentioning the other teams and stuff, and I want to take this both ways. Are you surprised that OU was just number 6 in the AP poll today? I figured they'd bump up at least one.
No, who cares? Like, fine, that's fine. Again, OU hasn't played anybody. I see Twitter comments. Oh, you guys are beating their chests. Like, not really. We're talking shit to people who said we would lose the game. There's a difference. Like, we're beating our chest saying "fuck you" for saying that we're going to lose this game. No, we weren't. Because I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, you're going to go to Nebraska, you're going to lose," because they're basing it off last year's Riley bullshit. I'm cursing up, and I'm like, I'm horrifying your parents again by just dropping all these bombs. Because I'm just letting my my Army filter is not there anymore. So I just like,
it's what it is.
Yeah, because I just curse up a storm. I was like dropping curse words, but yeah, it's. You gotta talk about that. Notre Dame almost lost again, and they probably should have.
Well, and that was something I was going to bring up to you too.
Awful. Notre Dame sucks.
They're bad, and that was something I was going to say. Is why is it there were several teams yesterday who you would expect to be decent? A&M looked horrible. Miami looked horrible. Notre Dame looked horrible. Florida looked horrible.
Let me get my soapbox about Texas A&M. Texas A&M won that game last night, and they acted like they did something. Those were two really bad football teams. I'm going to tell you that right now. Miami, at least for Miami, Cristobal is year one, and they have a quarterback, but their receivers can't catch a ball worth a damn. But Cristobal is selling for some field goals, bro. You're on the road. You need to go. You need to get touchdowns because the Aggies ain't doing crap either. Oh, we put Max Johnson in there. Yeah, you look. You know what, Max?
Bad.
No, you know what Max Johnson is? He's better than Haynes King, so that's not saying much. But number one, Max Johnson's for folks like me, it's like if you ever had a car that gets you from A to B, Max Johnson's your A to B car, man. You're not going to go across town very often. You're definitely not going out of state, but it's going to get you to work and back and maybe the occasional Taco Bell run. Other than that, you got the W. Your team still looks like trash. Miami is not ready for prime time, and they're complaining, "Hey, Miami dropped 12 spots, and we beat a top 15 team, but we only moved up one spot in the AP." Because grown-ups who watch that game realize both y'all suck.
Yeah,
those are two bad football teams, really bad football teams. So
the same whining's coming from Oklahoma State. Why did we drop one against Arkansas?
I hope Arkansas just murders them next week. I don't think they will because they danced with the devil for an upset against Missouri State.
They woke up.
It's like you all got pushed around by Missouri State. So it was a fun week. Everyone's like, it's a so-so weekend. It was fun on some levels. Like Tennessee's just very quietly almost to the top 10. They host game day next week. They got Florida. And I think I'm at the point with Tennessee where I expect them to beat Florida. It's no longer a joke to me that, like, I want to be good old Tennessee. If they could just get that feel-good win. No, I actually expect Tennessee to beat Florida this week.
Yeah, I mean, under Heupel, they're doing great stuff. Like, how can you
now,
I can't think anything like that.
They still got to play Georgia, still got to play Kentucky.
And Bama.
So, Bama will be interesting. They host Bama this year. This
is also the worst Bama team in recent memory, at least discipline-wise.
Well, they made it a point to put up a nice stat line against UL Monroe.
Yeah,
we did the same thing with Texas. They made a point. Except made a point to beat down UL Monroe the same way Texas did. Speaking of Texas,
I always feel bad for the team that faces Alabama in a situation after that because you get angry, Alabama.
Well, the last time Bama lost 2 games in a row
was
last
Auburn
time
and OU.
the last time they lost 2 games in a row, and so they don't
That's
do
a
that
fun
very
trivia
often.
fact.
Well, that was old school, like AJ McCarron type of, just a game managing quarterback, Bama. But Texas had so many feels by beating UTSA on Saturday.
But for a half, it literally looked like the Roadrunner versus Wile E. Coyote. They were clowning on him.
Well, here's the thing: they needed Hudson Card out there, and I don't know how he was healthy enough to play. They're really trying to hype up that Quinn Ewers is going to be back, and if he's back, great. If he's not, whatever. They are really trying to hype up that young man is going to be back. And look,
why would you rush it though?
Well, you don't have to rush it right now because what are they? Who they got? Do they got Tech next week, or is it West Virginia? They got either Tech,
Texas.
They got. I think they have Tech next week.
I think it's Tech.
But if Card's good enough to Tech is, again, they beat Houston. They beat Houston, but so did Kansas.
Is Kansas? Is Kansas going to be our?
Hang on. I want to talk about Texas first. So Texas forced a turnover, and they kind of took over the game. There was a couple of moments where the Roadrunners felt like if they would have gotten touchdowns instead of field goals in certain situations, I felt like they would have won the game.
Yeah.
They had an amazing a trick play action or kind of a gadget play that got them a touchdown, but they had an illegal formation, so they got 4 points taken away there. And then they had another play down by the goal line where they should have gotten the end zone and they didn't. So 8 points off the board that you could have had. So,
but Texas is really drinking the copium on. This is great rebuilding.
This is a feel-good moment for Texas, and they had some real growth. And look, sure, you had a moment of growth. You won a game that a lot of people said was going to give you trouble. Which, to be fair, they did give you trouble. It's one thing to be yeah, we beat UTSA. Woohoo! You're supposed to beat UTSA. That's the point. We've seen what you've done over the years, and you can celebrate a little bit that you didn't throw up on yourselves completely. You still had a hangover walking into this game, and you still felt good about it. I'm just I'm just grinning ear to ear that there's still, and it's from the outside too. It's man, they should feel good about feel good about almost beating Alabama. They should feel so good about themselves by almost beating Alabama. And it's please carry that bullshit mentality all the way to October 8th. I beg of you.
Yeah.
Have that. They almost did it. They almost did it. Please bring that mentality into Dallas, to the State Fair, into the Cotton Bowl, because Brent will fucking murder you. And I will be there to witness. Well, I won't be there, but I'll be here to witness it.
It'll be funny. I mean, let's be honest. They got intimidated by the Roadrunners coming on their campus and showing off their jerseys. That's why.
I mean, they do that everywhere, but I still thought that was that was just walking into your house, sitting on your couch, drinking your soda type of moment.
It was.
It's hey, what's up?
What the hell are you doing here?
Meet.
Posing
for Vogue magazine. Meet. Strike a pose. But I don't know. I love that they have this fairy tale with Quinn Ewers that he's gonna come back like Goku at the end of the Saiyan saga or the Frieza saga and save them all. He's in the healing tank right now, or he's gonna get a Senzu bean. He's gonna walk in and save everybody. So we'll see how that turns out down the road. Well, Adri, 4 to 6 weeks. Well, he's gonna come back.
What they don't realize is they're watching the wrong saga, and it's gonna be Yamcha against Nappa.
It's gonna be Yamcha versus the Cybermen. He didn't. Yamcha didn't get a 1-on-1 against Nappa. He didn't get that far. He got blowed up by it. So there's I hope there's at least 2 people in this chat who know what the hell I'm talking. Your dad certainly doesn't know what the hell we're talking about.
Absolutely not, but that's okay.
But anyway, I'm kind of rooting for them to win a game or two just to make that game in Dallas a little more interesting. I kind of hope they only have 1 loss at this point. But because please have that feel good moment.
They're having massive copium though. They're like this team's getting better. This team, I can see what Sark is doing.
They won, and Sark acted like a little bitch this past week when he gave reporters this little crumb saying all 3 quarterbacks are practicing or doing something, and everyone's like, tell us more. What are the quarterbacks doing? This is what would it take for so and so? It's like, then he gets real pissy with them and saying, there's a reason you guys don't go to practice. If I wanted you to practice, you'd be there. I'm not going to tell you this. Dude, you just told them that all 3 of those guys, Quinn, like your third stringer, Quinn and Hudson, were all practicing. And so of course people are going to go, really? Do the really owl thing. So yeah. All I have to say to that is, like, don't get mad at your beat guys about your media scrum. Well, it was like a Zoom call or whatever. Don't get mad on the Zoom call when you openly share this information, and they want to know more.
So it's like you're telling me, people to Lincoln Riley, don't be looking from the balcony, but it's open to the public.
Well, no, Texas had that open practice, and everyone's like, yeah, open practice, Texas. So, but yeah. We'll see if Texas makes it to Dallas in one piece. But
I mean, that was my thing is, I'm looking at the schedule and stuff, and I want to go over that in just a moment. But you mentioned Kansas, and kudos to you on this. This is not my claim for it. Will Kansas actually potentially be ranked going into Norman? I mean, maybe a 25, sure, but I'm serious. Are they going to be a top 25 team?
No, I kind of had to think about it because I thought to myself, what if like Texas does throw up on themselves at some point? Because they're 21 now. If they drop another game, there's no guarantee they'll be ranked. I mean, they got Tech, they got West Virginia. If they throw up on themselves twice, they will be unranked coming in.
Yeah.
And then we have K-State ain't gonna be ranked. I doubt. What's TCU right now?
TCU's only 2-0, but like they face SMU this weekend.
So SMU is their last game before they play us.
Correct. We don't know what they are. Let's go. Let's kind of.
They beat Colorado, but anyway. But my point is for Kansas. Kansas has a game they should win this week against Duke. They are favored. I think the game they host Iowa State, who's also 3-0 right now. Iowa State is. I haven't got a chance to watch Iowa State yet. I think they play Baylor this week, which that will be fun.
Baylor's going to light them up.
Yeah, they should. Then they got so they actually got 3 straight home games. They got Duke, really? Iowa State, and TCU. So they went on the road twice. Kansas won 2 road games. 2. Not 1. 2 non-conference. Well, one non-conference and 1 conference, but 2 road games.
Kansas went on conference member.
Freaking road. They could be 4-0 with Duke, and if they played someone even with a number next to them. Now, Iowa State could have a number next to them if they win this week.
They could.
So they beat Duke. I think Kansas will beat Duke. If Iowa State can pull the upset and beat Baylor.
It is in Ames, so.
So you got that going for you. Xavier Hutchinson's real, but TCU is interesting.
That's how I feel because when I was
we need to see another week of football, in my opinion, to get a better grasp on this thing.
Well, they've only played 2 games, so and that was kind of my thought and I'll just pull this in for it because I was looking at kind of reviewing the first quarter of OU play and then looking forward.
Could you imagine a 5-0 Kansas walking into Norman? And not to mention, that's a huge recruiting weekend for OU. And I'm not joking when I say that.
Why do you say that? Because I don't know.
Because there's legit big-time recruits that are going to be there.
Well, thank you. I'm curious why Kansas of all the games. You would think it would be Oklahoma State or Baylor, but
No, like it's when they could get they were trying to get as many. They're trying to get they're trying to get Hicks and Bassick and like Akana and all these guys to come together and be like, hey guys, come play together as this awesome like group of D linemen and front seven guys. That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
trying to get like the Cade McDonald's of the world, and we'll find about Jordan Renaud tomorrow. He's probably picking Bama, but like even if you don't get him, so you're still trying to solidify Hicks and everything and all these guys. So. I'm rooting for Kansas to win.
The dumb question with that, and that ties into the Nebraska stuff earlier. You mentioned that it looks like OU probably has won the Coleman sweepstakes with it, but
I jokingly say that, but like as of right now,
yeah. Well, and I want to ask that if you're in his position,
it's not a coincidence that a tight end threw a touchdown pass. It's not a coincidence that a tight end threw a touchdown pass.
I didn't think about that. Oh, I was just curious on it because I'm thinking with him, he has to think about his future too. And if it is boiling down truly to OU and Nebraska, why would you go to Nebraska when the future is
Mickey Joseph? Uncertain? Because of Mickey Joseph. He has a great relationship with Mickey Joseph. Mickey Joseph has been telling him, I did all this at 2019 LSU with that wide receiver group that's killing it in the NFL. You may have heard of those guys. That works on it. Also, I live in Nebraska, and my parents are Nebraska fans, and I grew up liking Nebraska, so my parents like Nebraska, and I want Nebraska to be good, but I live in an era where Nebraska is not going to be good anytime soon. And the coach that's really I like and is recruiting me is more than likely not going to be there at the end of the year. So part two to that, I can go to Oklahoma, be in a Jeff Lebby offense where I can still wear similar color scheme, but I can still.
We're the real Big Red anyway.
I can play in the SEC. And I can make a lot of money because I'll get drafted high if I flourish in a Jeff Lebby offense that loves to throw to tight ends or flex guys. And like, just everything's going our way in that battle right now. He's going to make his decision like in October, like late October. So he's got a date set as of right now, unless something dramatic happens. I got him going with OU at this point. The only reason he's picking Nebraska is straight up. Listen, it's a Baker Mayfield level. It's my dream to play at this school. I'm going no matter what.
Yeah,
and sometimes you can't beat that. But if he does it, if Mickey Joseph plays, look, maybe I could be the guy, or I could be this, and because he's not fired yet. He's not let go yet. He hasn't taken another job yet. So that's the only other thing you can hold on to.
Right, and that was just a curiosity question.
He'll recruit the hell out of him until he's not there.
Yeah.
So.
Look, just a question. Looking forward on our schedule and stuff too. With our next 3 games, which one do you think is going to be the toughest? Do we assume Texas
this week?
With it?
I've been listen. I tell people like K-State has walked into Norman multiple times with multiple head coaches on both sides of the field, and it hasn't mattered. They've walked in here and gotten W's, whether it's all our fault or past 10 years, they've gotten 3 wins.
Yeah.
So. Different eras, it doesn't matter. We are snake bitten with K-State and Norm at the moment. And we probably should have lost to them last year. We probably should have. Like we got lucky. The ball literally bounced our way a couple plays and saved our asses. And Spencer Radler, for once in his life, played a solid second half of football.
Yeah.
That season. Which led me to believe, Spencer Radler is finally getting it together. And then that was the last probably good half of football he ever played. So
poor guy. I still feel bad for him.
Yes and no. He's kind of a prick. That's just his nature. Some people are pricks by nature.
That's fair, but I feel bad. He had everything built up, and then it's just like, bro, you may not even get drafted or even being considered at this point.
He was a preseason Heisman guy. He was he's going to be number 1 in the draft, and Riley is not even taking an L for this. Isn't it funny? He didn't have to suffer for this one. You don't have to suffer for it. He didn't have to suffer for failing last year, and right now, as of right now, SC's clicking right now. So and they're going to get all the love. They're getting it right now. Now, it does suck that Fresno State's talented QB Hainer literally got hurt. He got broke. Something broke. He had a bad break or something or ligament in the third quarter.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and tell you Fresno is going to win, but that score would have been a lot closer if he hadn't gotten hurt. It's like that. Here's what's irritating about USC. The Alex Grinch speed D turnovers that we were promised are actually happening at USC.
Well, it's the Pac-12 is also
they lead the nation in turnover margin right now.
Yeah,
but
like,
it's like, now it shows up.
But
now we have turnovers. So it's like that irritates me a little bit, but someone's going to win the Heisman this year that I don't want to, but I have to deal with it. So whether it's going to be Caleb or CJ Stroud.
You don't think it's going to be Young now?
I mean, he could still do it, but I would prefer him not to win it either. But
I mean, it's not going to be any of our guys. So
no, I don't. Anyone picking? Dylan Gabriel, he has to put up more yards and points. Like, it's stupid that I have to say that. He hasn't turned the ball over, knock on wood. But he's playing to an almost unfair standard right now.
Yeah, because we've been spoiled.
Because we've had Baker and Kyler, and then there was then Caleb got the hype. Jalen Hurts was a one-man offense, which don't get me started on 2019. But he's playing against this impossible standard that was set before him, and I get people saying I don't trust Dylan Gabriel. I don't like. It's like, guys, what do you want? I get people saying I don't like Dylan Gabriel. It's just like he's had a couple of close calls. He hasn't turned the ball over. He hasn't thrown any picks. That'll probably change at some point because it's going to happen. Yeah. But it's just I don't know what else you want from this dude. Yeah, he needs to be a little bit more on target, but give him time. Let's see him in mid-season form, by getting to mid-season. You know what I mean? Let's get to Dallas and see how he plays in that game. If he goes into Dallas and just wipes the floor with that Texas defense, which, my God, how could you not at this point? Because if you're excited to see what we did to a bad defense in Lincoln, I can't wait to see what we could do against a bad defense in Dallas.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone's trying to sell me. That's a bad defense at Texas. You can try to tell me, oh, we made some plays against, dude, UT San Antonio played for one drive. Well, kind of. For one, they played both types of football where they moved the ball down the field. For one drive, they had one of those typical Army level 18 play type of drives where they marched down the field and then they scored.
Yeah. They
did that to them. What do you think we can do with the way we're clicking right now? I am not scared of Texas defense.
So, I'm not either. I mean, outside of it being the rivalry part of it, I'm not either. There's no skill position.
So for Dylan Gabriel, and Worthy is once again continuing dropping touchdown passes in the end zone. That's becoming a problem a little bit.
Yeah.
Xavier Worthy, wide open in the end zone. Oh my God, what a kick! Drops it. That's becoming a habit for Xavier Worthy, which should be concerning if you're a Texas fan. Just a little bit, just a tad, just a little bit.
I mean, a lot.
For Dylan Gabriel, he'll put up some numbers. He'll probably, at the end of the year, he'll be first team Big 12 quarterback. How could you not, based on what I've seen around the league so far?
Well, and that's something I'll add too, is I thought about it today because I'm making some notes because I want to do a video about recapping the first quarter. And I said, I think for everybody, we've been spoiled by such wonderful quarterback play. You have to lower your expectations with him because he reminds me a lot of Heupel.
It's not even that bad.
Yeah.
It's he's putting up pretty solid numbers. He's leading the offense. He's making big plays. I don't know what more you want from this dude, but I hear people saying, oh, I don't like Dylan Gabriel. It's this, that. It's because you're used to seeing Baker and Kyler, who are NFL caliber quarterbacks, do great things.
Yeah.
Dylan Gabriel is a really solid college QB, and that, I don't know what he's going to do in the NFL, but it's just.
I don't know if he'd even get drafted, but that's a long way.
He'll get drafted. Let's not get crazy.
I keep saying the one I stick with is he needs to learn to throw the ball away, and I think that is a very valid criticism.
Sure, we
discussed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think too that he telegraphs. Now again, I think that was more in person with that. I really want to see him against K-State. Those are my two big knocks, but I mean, He's a quarterback. There's a lot worse out there.
Okay, so first couple weeks he couldn't get Farouk involved. This past week he's finally getting Farouk involved. There is improvement,
right? And the playbook finally opened up.
But there was one play where I want to say it was Farouk or Mims that he had on like a crossing route, where if he hits him in stride perfectly on target, he's gone.
And he dropped it. Yeah, he dropped it.
It was a little off target, but trust me, they're going to work on that. That was there to be had. So, and they still won 49-14. So again, like the one thing to take away from that game is that despite winning 49-14 and dominating, coaches have something to point to all across. Hey, Deshaun White, you can't lead with your helmet. Can't do that. We need to fix that.
Side note, what did you think of that? Do you think it was targeting?
Textbook, it is targeting, but I hate it because leading with the crown of the helmet into his chest.
Okay, I kind of felt the same way, but I'm like,
you know what pisses me off about that? Flashback to January 2009 in Miami, Florida, where a certain Florida defensive back does the same thing, but with a little bit more oomph on the sideline to one of our wide receivers in the national championship game. Where the hell was targeting back then?
Mentioning targeting
just irritates me. So
you mentioning the targeting stuff, it made me think yesterday too, the chop block. We discussed it very, very briefly, but now they're enforcing it. Like, you can't chop block guys, and Nebraska looked lost after that. Like, that was their only.
Sorry, Army, Navy, and Air Force. You're gonna have to find. You're gonna have to give waivers to your linemen who can be above body fat percentage so they can play real football.
Yeah.
Anyway, but overall, just I'm expecting OU to win on Saturday. It's going to be a huge night, and I think we get Brando and Spencer Tillman. I want to say.
Oh, that's going to be big.
I think they're calling it, and I hate Tim Brando with a passion. I hate him so much.
But Tillman makes up for it.
A little bit, I guess. But Brando just irritates me on so many levels. He's such a condescending prick.
Yeah. But I mean, you mentioned it is still going to be a wild night. A little less, because if they were coming in undefeated, that place would be rocking.
They're going to be into it anyway, as they should be. But I hate that game is on at the same time. I wanted to watch Arkansas A&M because I love seeing hillbillies and overalls fight with each other. It's very entertaining to me.
Did you also notice that A&M, they had 3 players suspended, and I think one of their coaches got fired?
I don't know about the coaches part. I know players got suspended for the team rules thing for the game last night.
Yeah.
But again, the Aggies are stable. So games next week. Kent State plays Georgia at noon just to open up. It's not going to mean anything, but it will be fun just to contrast and compare. Maryland, Michigan. God, Michigan's probably going to win big. Clemson going to Wake Forest on the road. Wake Forest barely got out with their lives against Liberty.
Yeah.
Wake home noon game. Clemson playing dangerous in the first half with a terrible offense. We got the Baylor at Iowa State. That's a pretty decent little noon slate
for next weekend.
Yeah, it's a decent little noon slate. So I get to chill for most of the day for once. I get to wake up and take my time, and I don't have to. I've had all these earlier kicks. So, dude, a game I'm circling for mid-afternoon. Florida, Tennessee is one, and there's Texas and Texas Tech. Minnesota at Michigan State's on the Big Ten Network, dude.
That's gonna be a good one.
Dude, let me tell you something right now. Talk to your kids about an undefeated Minnesota today. It's probably going to happen.
For the entire season?
I think so. Dude, if they get past Michigan State, they have one other big test. They have to go on the road at Penn State a few weeks later.
Ooh, and that's a test.
Even if they drop that game, we could have a one-loss Minnesota team in the Big Ten championship game. I think they're going to
great.
I think they're going to Indy. Muhammad Ibrahim, man. Do you remember the game against Ohio State last year? The one that opened that Thursday night game
Yeah, and he got injured. Yeah.
Yeah, he ruptured his Achilles. Like they showed it, like went, oh, it looked ugly. It's like the back of his leg exploded. It's like,
yeah, I remember that. And everyone was going, bro, this sucks because he was keeping y'all in the game.
Dude, he's back healthy and he's putting up yards. Like they crushed Colorado the other day. Like remember we saw TCU earlier beat down. They crushed Colorado. Like Minnesota is a little like people are talking about Kansas and how it's like, oh, look at Kansas, dude. People need to pay attention to Minnesota.
Well, Minnesota has a decent schedule because they have at Michigan State.
No, that's the thing. They don't.
State,
I mean,
and Wisconsin.
Right. Okay. Whoa, hang on. They don't, in my opinion, have a decent schedule. I mean, they have a couple tough games, but that's my thing. Wisconsin is kind of like sus this year.
Yeah.
If they get past Michigan, they host Purdue, which is who knows what you're gonna get with Purdue. Purdue could be either the upset team or not. Illinois is trash. Rutgers trash. Nebraska trash. Northwestern trash. Iowa can't score points. Wisconsin lost to Washington State.
Yeah,
that's their schedule.
Yeah, it's very favorable.
And this is what Minnesota's been doing in their non-conference: 38-0, 62-10, 49-7. Not great opponents. Colorado being the toughest one, a Power 5 non-con, but 49-7 at home.
So in theory, we won't know what they are until probably the Big Ten championship.
I know.
Ohio State or Michigan.
No. I'm not predicting playoff or championships. All I'm saying is, I expect them to be. I expect them to be at Indianapolis. Like, look at Ibrahim rushing the ball, 132, 132.02. Dude might be a Doak Walker Award winner. He's going to put up numbers.
Do you think the stars are aligning with Minnesota?
I mean, if they win this week, people will. I mean, Michigan State did drop it. They lost to Washington, which is another team I had to keep an eye on. But here's the thing: right now, no, they don't have a ranked opponent until Penn State on the road in October 22nd. So, but again, Michigan State is a wounded animal right now. That's gonna be a big game for Michigan State because if they need to bounce back. I don't think Michigan State's good enough to win the Big Ten this year like they were last year. They lost a couple guys. Chuck might be coming, but it might be next year. It just feels like right now, it feels like it's Ohio State, Michigan in the Big Ten, and it feels like it's building up to that because Michigan doesn't play anybody until they play like Penn State. Michigan's
Ohio State has
a game worth a damn until they play. Michigan's not gonna have a game until they play Michigan State or Penn State. And it's just but hey, Harbaugh's blowing people out. I mean, he's doing what he's supposed to do. His non-conference schedule's terrible, but you know what? There's nothing to talk about with Michigan because they haven't played anybody yet. So we're in that stage. But I'm telling you, man, I think the top 7. If I want to, I'm not. People want to talk about playoff. What I think is adorable right now, the top 7 in the AP. Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, Michigan, Clemson, OU, USC.
The Blue Bloods.
Well, not all of them are Blue Bloods, but there's a lot of them.
Poor Clemson.
No, Clemson's not Blue Blood. And neither is Georgia, to be fair. And Georgia fans will tell you that too. But imagine if you had Bama, Ohio State, OU, USC. It's way early for that.
Imagine getting, and they would be foaming at the mouth to put.
They would also love to have Michigan in there too. But Michigan might beat Ohio State. Michigan, Ohio State's gonna be good this year if things keep progressing the way they are. But again, I need to see these teams play somebody. Ohio State kind of played somebody, but then Notre Dame's a fraud. But Clemson needs to get beat. I hope it's this week with Wake. Clemson's just offensively is just horrendous. SC is good right now offensively, and they're forcing turnovers on defense. So Grinch is actually producing what we were hoping he would eventually do at OU. Ugh, sickening. Clemson's defense is solid. Offense is not really good. Michigan's just doing what they're supposed to do. Ohio State is doing what they're. Bama, they had the thing with Texas, and again, a one-off thing. I don't put too much stock into the Texas thing. We'll see what Bama's going to have.
Bama has Ole Miss. I know that they have Auburn, but Auburn sucks.
Oh no, Ole Miss is way late in the year though. Vandy they'll crush. They got to go on the road at Arkansas, which Arkansas barely beating Missouri State raises a red flag there. the big game with A&M everyone was hyping up is now, oh yeah, that game is happening, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the game is Tennessee. It's on the road. I mean, LSU's on the road too, but like
LSU's bad this year.
Sucks. Ole Miss is interesting. Ole Miss is kind of very quiet right now. I want to see what who has Ole Miss played? I know we're kind of just going down schedule stuff here. Let's see who Ole Miss hasn't played anybody either. They beat Georgia Tech like they were supposed to, unlike Clemson.
Yeah, they beat them down.
Okay, so Ole Miss has Tulsa but they got Kentucky in a couple weeks. So they got Kentucky on the 1st. So that will be a real football game. Then got Vandy, Auburn. Auburn's awful. LSU sucks that they got on the road. So if you're Ole Miss, you'll beat Tulsa. Kentucky will be interesting. So you'll beat Vandy, you'll beat Auburn. LSU is a rivalry.
Yeah.
Your stretch is November, basically.
For everybody.
Or late October, early November. But it really is. Like some people have games, some teams have games that are like mid-October where they have a rough stretch, and then it eases up late.
Yeah.
A lot of SEC teams will have that because they'll finish their slate like early November, and then they'll have like garbage non-conference games, and then they'll have like their in-state ACC rival that's awful. Yeah. And then they'll just wait and see what happens with the divisions. But anyway, OU, we're still waiting to find a ranked opponent to play. Still waiting.
If it ended up Alabama, Ohio State, us, and USC, how do you think they would have playoff setup? In theory, sure. Let's just roll with those 4.
All right, repeat that again one more time, please. I was a little distracted.
If you were mentioning with the AP poll, like who's in the top 7, if it works it out that it's going to be Bama, Ohio State, us, and USC, who would you see playing in the Fiesta and who would you see playing in the Peach?
Oh, God, that's impossible to answer.
Well, have fun with it for a second. What would you want to see?
What am I answering here? Because like we're only like, I mean, I did that for fun because like look at all the blue bloods in the top 7. That's basically what I was like playing.
That's
with.
fair.
Like, well, I don't know. I don't know who's going to be like. If you like, Georgia feels like they could beat anybody, so I would pick Georgia over Bama again. Ohio State, Michigan.
I pick Ohio State until Michigan proves me wrong.
Yeah, but Michigan did beat them last year. People forget that actually happened.
Yeah, but I know. But I've
been hating on Michigan for a while too. But it's like, okay, you actually did beat Ohio State last year. You won the Big Ten. So
yeah, but I also know like
JJ McCarthy. Listen, this is not like what Michigan was last year. They have some really good wide receivers now. JJ McCarthy is like a much better, more talented quarterback than Cade McNamara. Cade McNamara was kind of a loyalty thing where they kind of screwed him over and they let him along to make him believe that he was going to be the starter. Everyone wanted JJ McCarthy to start. It's like everyone in the room knew except Cade McNamara, or maybe he believed that he would actually have a chance to keep his job. But JJ McCarthy is the wonderkind. He's the 5-star hero that everyone wanted to play. And he's being spoon-fed these easy wins. So JJ McCarthy hasn't played like people like. Here's a good example you'll understand. Remember when Radler came in at the end of the LSU playoff game?
Yes.
JJ McCarthy.
Snap.
JJ McCarthy came in at the end of the Georgia playoff game last year and got a touchdown. So he did more than Radler, but it's like, if only JJ was in the game the whole time. You know, it was one of those things.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have mattered. Georgia was going to beat Michigan anyway. But there's that sense that JJ gives you the best chance to be the best type of offense, the more explosive offense. And based on what you're seeing with Michigan right now, that's what it looks like. But again, they've been playing UConn in like Colorado State.
I mean, those are world beaters, Sean. I mean, don't doubt the Colorado State.
Like for Michigan, it's like if I can find this. Where are you? Dang it! Where's like Michigan State is a rivalry. Like they play Maryland this week. I don't buy Maryland again. Maryland's 3-0. Congratulations. They'll crush Maryland. Iowa can't score points. Indiana's Indiana. Penn State's going to walk into the big house. And every time Penn State walks into the big house, they walk out with a big giant L. And then they host Michigan State, which,
Yay.
Mel Tucker has yet to lose to Michigan. So he's got that going for him. But that is in the big house, and that's a sneaky one right now. I know they lost to Washington, but Washington might be a little good. Who knows? They're on the road at Rutgers. The win went like Penn State is the one game you circle in mid-October, and then they go on the road into Columbus at the end of the year. So the Big Ten is going to sort itself out. The SEC will sort itself out, but of course the SEC. We have this mindset that the SEC has to have two teams every year. Will that actually happen?
Could it, and it may not. Georgia for sure, probably, unless they just fall apart. I mean, the SEC is much better right now.
It's gonna work itself out because a lot of these, like Tennessee's going to play Kentucky, Georgia's going to play Alabama. Well, not in the regular season. See, that's the tricky part. Could you imagine if Bama lost 2 conference games? Is this the year?
They could.
Because here's the thing. I got to see him play against another decent team with talent. And A&M's kind of...
Are you believing in A&M? Are you believing in the overalls?
No, I'm going to go Tennessee because Hendon Hooker is a much better quarterback than anything A&M has right now. Auburn's not going to give him a challenge.
No, and kudos to Penn State. It's
going to be Tennessee, maybe Ole Miss, and I'm being very generous when I say that. LSU, God.
I mean, though, look at Georgia. Look at their slate.
Is Will Rogers in Mississippi State going to do it? I just don't know, man. It's just it feels like Alabama could be vulnerable. Like Arkansas on the road, maybe. Like, that's a tough stretch. Like, after they get past Vanderbilt, which they'll be Vanderbilt, they got Arkansas on the road, A&M at home, on the road Tennessee, hosting Mississippi State, LSU. Boom. That stretch right there. Arkansas, A&M, Tennessee, Mississippi State, LSU, Ole Miss. There's a loss in there somewhere for Alabama, in my opinion.
I'd say Ole Miss.
Is there 2? I'll tell you,
it's the same thing I always say, though, Sean, is like the Michigan thing. Okay, you beat Ohio State. Do it again. It's just like with Arkansas.
The problem for Bama is that the one thing that got exposed is that they do not have elite wide receiver play or anyone they can go to on the reg. Like, they could bludgeon the weak all they want. Bryce Young is really good, man. But if he don't have Devontae Smith or anything, or Jameson Williams or any of these guys that from the past couple of years, he don't have some of these dudes. Like, they have some.
But I mean, when you think of it though that way, is this all? Are we just talking formality of who's going to get crushed by Georgia at this point? Because Georgia only's true challenges left, if you really even want to call them challenges, is Florida, Tennessee, and Kentucky, and they're going to crush them.
Georgia fans, some of them believe they're going to go to Mississippi State and drop a game. Just because it's the mindset of, look, going undefeated is really hard. Where do you see a loss popping up, right? Some think it's going to be Mississippi State just because it's on the road, it's late, maybe there's an injury or two. See, you got to be careful about crowning Georgia a little too early. I know the win at Oregon was really impressive, but you also got to take into account Oregon was overrated, but they're also good. You could be overrated and still good, if that makes sense. Yeah. So it was Dan Lanning's first game, bro. You got to go up against the defending champs on a neutral site. Fuck my life. So that was never going to go his way. So my thing with Georgia, I got to see them go up against another team in the SEC with the pulse. And if they start crushing teams again, now they crushed South Carolina, but South Carolina has been bad for a couple of years. I don't know, but now Georgia looks the part still. But they play against, but they go up against Kentucky and Kentucky and Tennessee. I'm Florida.
Yeah, it's Florida, Tennessee, at Mississippi State, and at Kentucky.
So much for the Anthony Richardson Heisman hype for week 1. God.
That's gone. Yeah, that got flushed down the toilet.
That
Really
died
fast.
out. That died out a lot quicker than I thought it would. I thought that would last a couple, but nope. They lost to Kentucky. Said no, we're going to kill this Anthony Richardson Heisman hype really quickly. And I would have been okay with it. I would have been fine. But it's I love looking at these schedules. It's fun, but I don't know. If Alabama drops a game, they're still going to get benefit of the doubt. But that I think it's concerning. They walked into Texas and they were not able to move the ball on that defense, because that defense, I think that's a mirage, man.
Yeah,
we talked about it last week. It's a combination of a couple things. One, they walked into a rabid crowd that was throwing shit at they were throwing shit at the players too. Those Texas fans were.
Yeah,
they were throwing
water bottles, and
so they'll fit right in with the SEC. So they were doing that shit. They don't have any wide receivers who are like playmakers at the moment.
Yeah,
and the offensive line is a little so.
They could. Again, I mean, they have a tougher stretch than Georgia does.
Look at Georgia real quick.
Georgia's only tougher stretch is that Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Kentucky. They don't face Bama.
They're on the road at Missouri, which historically has given some teams problems, but Missouri's not good this year. Auburn is trash. Vanderbilt is
garbage.
They're not garbage, but they're not going to beat Georgia. Let's just say that. They're not
the smart people school.
They're 3-1. Vandy's 3-1. They're not garbage. So Georgia's not going to play anybody worth a shit till
Florida.
Florida, and then they got back-to-back with that Florida, Tennessee that again. We're not going to really find out about Georgia in the SEC play
until later Florida. Yeah.
No, I think they'll beat down Florida.
Tennessee, though, is another matter entirely, but they
get Tennessee at home, and so God, I'll never forget that Hail Mary where they won the game, that crazy ending, and that was 16. Tennessee had this amazing run in 16 where they came so close to being like, but they were mounting up so many injuries that caught up with them, and they lost at A&M, and I think they had the ball with the chance to drive down the field and beat Bama, but they couldn't do it because Bama's defense was just too good. It was like a low scoring game.
You mean Georgia, and Bama destroyed them.
No, I'm talking about Tennessee a couple years back.
Yeah, if you're talking 2016, I'm looking at their schedule. Alabama crushed them 10-49.
What year was it where Tennessee had the ball and it was like a 17-14 win? What year was that?
Oh, I want to say
Bama it was like a low scoring under 20 points for each team type of game.
I want to say that
was it 15? Was it 15?
It had to be 15. Yeah, it's 15 because we played them.
Yeah, okay.
It was always the same year.
They had that soul-crushing loss against us, that soul-crushing loss against Florida. They go into Tuscaloosa, and they had the ball with a chance to maybe go down and score and win. That's the closest they've ever came since last year.
Yeah. And they also lost to Arkansas again that same way. They just could not score in that fourth quarter at all.
I'll tell you what, man. If Heupel gets them a win against Bama this year, he's getting a statue the next day.
Him and Leopold up at Kansas, both of them are going to get statues.
No. Heupel will get a statue made of like margarine and butter. They'll come up with something real quick. He will get a statue immediately. You're the first coach. You're the first coach to beat Bama since Philip Fulmer, since 2006.
Dude, that's how long the field.
Yes, they would.
Yes,
and no one would hold it against them, or like
they would go finally.
like Brent talked about us rushing the field in 2000 against Nebraska, which is something we don't do. That's the last time we ever kind of.
And fun fact, that's the only time on record that we know if we've rushed the field.
Well, let me rephrase this: rushing the field, we tore the goalpost down. That's the key.
Correct.
We've had rush the field type of moments, kind of in the.
No, past. We throw oranges.
No. You know what I mean? We've had some games in Norman with Bedlam where we've people have come onto the field and whatnot. But we didn't tear the goalpost down. We tore the goalpost down for Nebraska. That's different.
Yeah.
For 2000, but we're not in OU's too good to tear down goalposts right now. You're too good to be tearing down goalposts. Like, what are you doing? You don't tear down goalposts if you're actually good. So, but Tennessee would have the right to tear down goalposts if they beat Bama.
Yeah, because that's one of those. It finally happened. You got over the hump and you did it right.
They lost their damn minds in '98 when Florida missed a field goal in overtime. And
yeah.
Anyway, we're just like going on and on at this point.
I got one final question for you, then we'll wrap it up. First quarter of the season's done. Us, Iowa State, Oklahoma State, and Kansas are undefeated. What's your one good takeaway for OU at this point where this is solid foundation? What's the great thing? And I would say defense.
You look like a complete football team.
On both sides.
For the most part, yeah. We look like a balanced, complete football team.
Looking forward to it, you said that Kansas State would be our toughest one coming forward, right?
Well, that's before the season started. I if I have to pick 2 losses, because the reason I picked 2 losses was because if I picked one, that means we're probably in playoff conversation. And I wasn't ready to do that yet.
Yeah,
but I'm starting to lean towards. It's a combination of a couple things. One, OU is not embarrassing themselves, and they're getting better. 2, it's just we're getting to the point where we went through all the schedules and teams. A lot of those teams are going to play each other and knock each other off.
Right.
If OU keeps playing the way they are, and the Big 12 is the way it is, I'm at the point right now where if Oklahoma doesn't embarrass themselves and keeps doing what they're doing, it might be we end up in the playoff by default. It's early I'm not saying that's happening yet. It's really early.
9 more games to play.
Right. But it feels like, man, I'm looking around the country and we might slip into this thing by default. Undefeated or 1 loss. And undefeated, we're getting in. But it just feels like Baylor has some problems.
Oklahoma State doesn't have a defense.
Well, they're playing a little better, but again, Central Michigan is trash, and they gave it 44. So Oklahoma State, we'll see. That will be I just love the fact that we have all these tough games at home. So that's going to be big. But at the same time, it's like I'm still not there that we're going to be 1 loss undefeated. I still need to see. I need to see more progression. I need to see. If we get past Texas without a loss, I'll start entertaining that idea a little bit. But we gotta. I said in one of my videos, I'll get one of those little Crystal Light Kool-Aid packets and put it in one of my waters here and start drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit. So,
yeah, but we got to get past Texas. That's whether it's the first hump or the second hump.
Quentin Ewers is coming back and he's going to go all Hulk Hogan on us and. What you gonna do when the mullet runs wild on you, brother? Someone's gonna tow his car at the State Fair parking lot.
Again.
We'll tow his what's he got?
I have no idea.
A Porsche or Mercedes, something like that.
I have no idea. I mean, it makes you wonder why was he parked there in the first place, but
well, he didn't have the tag. Like when student athletes park at certain places, they didn't have their little tag in the thing.
I didn't hear that part.
I learned that from Turk. Make sure you have your ID tag for your car so don't get towed. I was like, I learned that from Turk in his videos. Very good, very good.
I wonder why.
Looking forward to Turk. Looking forward to Turk's video this week too. See how the trip went.
Yeah,
I
mean, they had a blast.
I like Turk's game day videos. So
they're fun.
Those. But it's God, I still want to beat the hell out of Texas this year. I want to crush their souls.
I want to crush K-State.
I do too, but I'm just like, if they crush K-State, if they beat them down, that crowd is going to lose their shit.
Think of it this way too: Venables is immune to the purple magic because he was a part of it. He knows the ways.
Well, here's the thing. Brent's playing with house money right now.
Mm-hmm.
So right now there's all this good these good feelings and stuff. And like if Dylan Gabriel doesn't live up to expectation, doesn't play well, it's like, well, there's not many replacements for the team this year. You have a 5-star on your roster, or not on your roster, but that's going to sign with you this year. And so keep that class going. But anyway, he's playing with house money. So
yeah. All right, Sean, let's wrap up. So I want to thank you for coming on yet again on another Sunday. I hope you definitely enjoyed the beatdown of Nebraska like I did. Everyone, thank y'all for joining in tonight. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so you know when we go live and when I upload a video this week. So be sure to tune in on Wednesday with Swiggy, Gavin, Justin, and myself as we're going to preview the K-State game, which is just less than a week away. So that's all I got, guys. So Boomer Sooner, and there's only one. See y'all Wednesday.